Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1 is a new TV series that's been released on Netflix, and it's a series created by Kevin Smith. And it's a continuation of the 1980s TV series He-Man, the Masters of the Universe. So I'm going to let you guys know this review will be spoiler free. I'm not going to contain no spoilers or any spoilers whatsoever because this is an experience. I rewatched reruns of the 1980s TV series and also watched the 2003 reboot series when I was a kid at the time. And I didn't like the fact they canceled it because the following season they was going to introduce She-Ra. Finding out that this show got released on Netflix, I was excited. I was thrilled. I was going in with good open eyes, so I was excited. And then going into that first episode, things changed rapidly. After a cataclysmic battle between Heman and Skeletor, Eternia is fractured and the Guardians of Grayskull are left scattered. And after decades of the secrets that tore them apart, it's up to Teela to reunite the broken band of heroes and solve the mystery of the missing sword of power and race against time to restore Eternia and prevent the end of the universe. It's really floored how great the animation was. I like the style. I mean, they still had their big buffy muscles. They still had biceps, triceps, myceps. They also introduced some new characters, and a plethora of characters get introduced. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just salivating of all these characters. Nice young treats. We got deeper into the episode. We got this little bit reveal of the plot. And then after around the ending of the episode, there was something big that happened. The show took a different direction, and this is where I feel like could urge a few fans, because it definitely urged me to a point of depression. I just didn't know how I felt. I had to pause the show for a little bit, took a moment to myself, rewind it, trying to figure out they actually had the audacity, actually had to ordain to make that decision. I watched it again, found out it was true. They made the decision. They made a decision, a groundbreaking decision that that I would say make a comparison to The Last Jedi. I think the impactfulness is similar to The Last Jedi, and Kevin Smith was one of those guys who support The Last Jedi connections. That could actually be the main factor whether or not you like the show going forward. Now, if you're a die-hard fan, I don't know if you agree with it. The reason why it will upset a few fans is because, you know, people are close to characters, you know. People are close to characters. They expect their characters to go a certain way, you know, to portray a certain way, and, you know, things of that nature. But it's really hard to talk about it without going to spoilers. But to talk about more, Teela had a good role in this not movie, but TV show. But Teela had a bigger role than before, because I felt like in the 1980s TV show, I felt like Teela was underutilized. For her, she had a bigger role, and then she had more of an impactful role, more of an integral role. So our characters are pretty much have gone their separate ways, and Teela had to reunite everyone back. Stakes were high, like going on to this, you know, in these 5 episodes, the stakes were high. Like, the stakes were so high that I have never felt no kind of stakes or this much tension in ever. Like, I haven't seen this or felt this much tension within its characters in the reboot show. Damn well, I never felt any tension in the 1980 show. I don't think there was any tension. The stakes were high for our characters in this series, and I bought it, and I was just at the edge of my seat. It was really cool stuff. And also, there is some development on some certain characters. We go deeper into Teela's mindset. We get a fully breakdown of what she's really thinking. There's some conflict with her character as well, and I felt like her character grew and progressed, and it worked. Now there are some people who probably won't like Teela. I'm not going to go into details of why, but if you're expecting He-Man, you're going to see He-Man. If you're expecting Teela to stay in her lane, well, she's not going to do that. And I cannot wait for part 2. I actually like the twists in the different direction. I don't really mind it, but as long as there's some good writing, but there was some good writing involved here. The characters were given a lot to do. The stakes were high. I agree with some of the characters' choices, even though some of the decisions does kind of go away with certain character arcs from the 1980s show. Like there's a character that I felt like makes this drastic decision. Now I understand why she made this drastic decision, but from a character standpoint, if you compare her character arcs from the 1980s show, I just felt like it was kind of out of her character to act that way, a certain way. TVPG, yes, TV is TVPG, but there are some dark elements, some visceral dark elements along with humor. But the darker elements is kind of like, it makes it feel like this show, it could be TV-14. And the way it's shot and the way it has some of those visceral dark images, I feel like it should have been TV-14, not TV-PG. I think the main thing about this show was the cliffhanger. There's a twist, not a twist, but there's a big cliffhanger in the ending that made me excited for part 2. It was so big, I just couldn't. And everyone did their part. I was satisfied with Heman. I was satisfied with the other characters. I mean, some characters even had bigger roles. Like Evelyn had a bigger role to shine. Beastman had a bigger role to shine. Even Men at Arms had a bigger role to shine than they did in the 1980 show. I enjoyed this show personally, and I urge you guys to check out this show and see it for yourselves. Now, if you're going in expecting something, going in with an open mind. If you're going in expecting certain characters to go a direction, you'll be disappointed. I can't say exactly what it is, but after that first episode, that will decide your trajectory of how you feeling of the show. I'm going to give Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1 a A-. This was a good TV show, and I cannot wait for Part 2. So those are my thoughts on He-Man Revelation Part 1. Comment below. Let's talk about it, and I'll see you guys in my next review. And if you like everything you see and you agree, subscribe to my channel and join me in the Batman family. I have more Batman-tastic reviews in the way. You have the power. Till then, ciao.